Johnny Smith here with CollisionBlast.com. CollisionBlast.com, you can go there, subscribe for free, doesn't cost you a dime, and you can get hours of free training, DIY auto body and paint training, sent straight to your inbox. So I hope you're off to a great week. I hope things are going your way. And I have a video for you today. We're working on the Acura project. We've already done the body work on this fender. We've already prepped it, and now we're ready to prime it. We're going to show you how to mix some primer surfacer and how to apply it to the fender. So just sit back, relax, and take a few minutes to watch this video. Okay, now we are going to mix up the primer surfacer. And I'm using a cup here, a mixing cup. That's one method. You can also use a scale if you want to. You have a mixing system. And what I'm showing here is the mixing ratio, a chart that shows that. But this chart's not so important as because you might be using something different. This is PPG and viral based system. But whatever primer you're using or brand you're using, be sure that you look up what the mixing ratio is for that specific product. That's very important, and you want to be able to get it mixed right, or you might have problems. So I'm mixing the primer, and I believe this one's 3-1-1. It mixes 3 parts primer, and this is 1 part catalyst, and then I'm going to add 1 part reducer, and that's what it says on the chart. Now I'm adding the reducer, and again, it's very important to find the technical data sheet for each product, or some of them have it on the can, but it's still good to read that technical data sheet because it's going to tell you things about how many coats that you should apply and all the recommendations for that certain product. Okay, I got it all mixed together. Now I'm stirring it up. Make sure it's all mixed together. And you also want to make sure if it's an epoxy, it may have an induction time where it needs to set together for a certain time. Primer surfacer usually doesn't, and that's what this is. And I am using a 3M cup system, the PPS system, to shoot this. This is a small cup that they have when you're shooting small amounts, so that you're not don't have to get a big liner and cup. And it basically has a liner, has the container that it fits in, then it has a lid, and then a ring that shuts it all, keeps it from leaking out. And now I'm using a 3M AccuSpray primer gun. It's a 1.8 tip, and this thing slips on, and then you turn it, to make sure that it's on there, and it locks into place so that it doesn't leak or drip on you. Okay, now I'm getting this masked off, getting it ready to prime. Now remember, I've already prepped this whole fender, and now I'm just wanting to prime the bodywork area. And I'm not wanting to prime the whole fender, just the area that where I did the body work. Now I'm speeding up the masking process so I don't bore you to death or anything like that. So going around, and I'm using a back masking technique to go around this fender. And that's basically where you just go to the back side of the panel and apply the tape. And then it has an adhesive side that sticks out, and this is where we can put the paper. So I'm going to outline this with paper. That way we got a good seal, got all the dirt sealed off, and we can get a nice clean job. And also I'm going back with some masking tape, just being sure any seams are taped up tight so we don't get any overspray in those areas. Now I'm wiping the fender off with a wax and grease remover, and this is a waterborne wax and grease remover. And this just gets all the contaminants off so that when you apply your primer, it adheres properly, and you got all those contaminants off that. Now one important thing that I do want to mention, whenever you apply any type of solvent or wax and grease remover, be sure that it's dry before you apply the coatings. You don't want that stuff to still be flashing off and then you apply any type of coating. What I'm putting on here is self-etch primer, and you can just get it in a rattle can, and it's for bare metal. And it provides corrosion protection, and because I'm not using epoxy on this certain job, I'm just hitting the bare metal with self-etch, and then I'm going to come back with a primer surfacer for the filling properties. Now I've got my gun set. I've got kind of a small pattern since it's a small area, and I'm not wanting primer to go all over that fender, so I kind of set a smaller pattern just to keep the repair area small. And I'm priming, kind of standing in the way here. I think I'll get out of the way here in a minute. So at bottom, all of it's pretty much primed, but on this top portion, I don't want the primer overspray going all over the fender. So what I'm doing, I'm angling the primer away from the painted surface. That way I don't have a lot of overspray that I have to get off before I paint. Because you certainly don't want to paint, or especially clear coat, on top of the primer. I'm doing it again, and I did allow it to flash in between coats, and that's something else you can get from your technical data sheet. How long should you allow each coat to flash? I'm going out a little further with this coat. And there's also just a few areas I'm setting the pattern down just a little bit smaller because I don't want the overspray to get all over the fender. There's just a small spot that I needed to prime here, and then remember that spot that I had the feather edge on top, I'm going to prime that. And again, I'm trying to keep the overspray as minimal as possible. Okay, so that's primed, and now we'll allow it to dry, and we'll show you how to sand it in another video. But now you want to engage the trigger, pull the trigger back, and allow all that primer to drain out of there, and then you can take the cup off. That way it won't go all over whenever you go to take it off. And now I've got some lacquer thinner in a bottle, and this is an easy way to clean a gun. And I'll stick the nozzle down in there, kind of push it in there where it seals, and I'll start pumping the bottle to force lacquer thinner through the gun. And I'll do this until a clear stream comes out of the gun. And now with this specific gun, it's really easy to clean. This nozzle just comes off. I'm just cleaning the outside a little bit using a brush. Now this nozzle, you pull the trigger back, and there's two little tabs that you push down, and this whole nozzle will come off. If that is bad, or isn't working, or gets clogged, gets old or whatever, you can just replace that. I think they're $5-6 a piece, and that's what's nice about these guns. Now I'm cleaning the inside of the gun, spraying it down, brush it off a little bit just to make sure it's good and clean. And now I'm pulling the trigger back, and I'm going to put this nozzle back on. Now the gun's ready to put up. I'm just putting a little bit more thinner through it to make sure it's good and clean, and now it is ready to put up. Well, that wraps it up for this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And if you liked it, be sure and give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and be sure and go to collisionblast.com and subscribe for free training. Have a safe and productive week, and we'll see you in the next video.